Hey guys, it's Sajad. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to ace your behavioral interview. Now, after my last video, a lot of you requested that I make a video on this topic. In my last video, I talked about how to get a software engineering internship, and I covered the basics when it comes to your resume, technical interviews, and connections. However, what I promised to save for later, which I didn't discuss in that video, was the behavioral interview. And that is what we are going to be tackling today. Now, unlike my last video, this video applies to all majors. My last video was more about software engineering internships, so it kind of applies to only like software engineers and computer scientists, obviously. But this video is open to all majors. Regardless of your major, whether you're more of an engineering person or a liberal arts person, this video applies to you because in some way, shape, or form, whatever company you're applying for, you are going to have to pass a behavioral interview. Now, companies use behavioral interviews to kind of filter out the psychos from the normal people. So, I mean, if you just sort of deem yourself as like a normal person, if you don't think that you're that crazy or that psychotic, this should be a fine and straightforward and easy interview for you to pass. But the thing is, it's not just about passing, it's not just about getting to the next round. We need to wow our recruiters, we need to wow the interviewers, make them want to hire us almost after just the first round. So behavioral interviews are all about positive perception. No one really cares if you've done groundbreaking research. No one really cares if you've created the newest machine learning algorithm to solve all the world's problems. What really matters is how you put on that positive perception and how you're able to make the interviewer believe that you are an excellent candidate, regardless of what you've done in the past. Now, like usual, I'm gonna have the topics that I'm discussing in this video somewhere on the screen. So let's get to it. So for the first one, now this is a very important one and I want all of you to put down whatever you're doing and pay attention.
Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel.
Okay, now that that's over with, the real first topic is all about storytelling. Now, just to preface this a little bit, make sure whatever resume that you've applied with for this company, that you know the ins and outs of it. Every single experience, every single project, every single thing and category on your resume, you know down to a T and you can form a story out of it. If you, for example, have that you were president of robotics club, you know of everything that went on with that robotics club, what you did since the day one that you got there till that last day. And I'll bring this back later on in the video as it'll become more apparent. So one question that I'm sure you all have heard of is,
tell me a little about yourself.
Now when someone asks you to tell them about yourself in a behavioral interview, they're not looking for you saying,
oh, I like to Netflix party with my friends.
Or, I like to go to the gym 5 days a week, yeah.
That's not what they're looking for. When it comes to this, what they're really looking for is you to kind of give that elevator pitch. And for those of you who don't know, an elevator pitch is kind of like a 30 to 40 second description about yourself in context of your major, in context of the job you're seeking. So for example, here's how my elevator pitch goes. Hi, my name is Jad. Welcome to my YouTube channel.
Actually, no, sorry, wrong intro.
Hi, my name is Jad. I'm a computer science major at Georgia Tech. This past summer, I served as a software development engineering intern at Amazon, in which I learned a lot about AWS cloud computing as well as general software engineering. In the past, I served as a data engineering intern at Howard Hughes Medical Institute, in which I served in the development of different machine learning algorithms to help predict fruit fly behaviors. I have experiences in Java and Python primarily, as well as some experiences in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I really hope to bring my talents and experiences to your company. So as you can see, just in about like 30 to 40 seconds, maybe less, maybe more, I was able to cover the basis of why I'm qualified as a software engineer. Part of the structure I follow when I'm giving my elevator pitch is who I am, my degree as well as my school, my past experiences, and moving on to other tools that I use like Java and Python. Now, like I mentioned earlier, companies use behavioral interviews to kind of filter out the psychos and the weirdos from the normal people. But in order to really put your best self out there, put your best chance out there, is to really portray yourself as a great leader, as a great communicator. Now, the obvious question is,
how do I do that? How do I portray
myself as a leader, even if I haven't done any leadership? Maybe I've only interned at a company, or maybe I've just been a member of a club. How can I portray myself as a leader? Now, before I had much interview/internship experience, I was actually struggling to answer this question. I was thinking, how can I portray myself as a leader? What have I done? How can I really convince them that I'm a great leader? Then, actually, when I was applying to one company, it's a really small company. I think they're a startup or something. Amazon.com, I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They have these leadership principles. Now, these leadership principles are 14 principles that each person hired into Amazon has to adhere to and follow suit. It's kind of their core values and beliefs that each person instills within them. Now, for all of you guys, how I took advantage of these leadership principles, how you guys can take advantage of these leadership principles is reading through them. Now, each principle sort of puts words to actions that you've done. Now, take for example, insist on highest standards. Now, I'm sure all of you in some way, shape, or form incorporate this. I mean, I'm sure all of you really try your best to have the highest standards when it comes to things that you put out. And how you can really present this to a recruiter or an interviewer is that as a leader, I insist on the highest standards. When I put something out there, when I deliver any results, I put my name behind it and I take pride in it because that is my work. I ensured was up to production standard, that is up to customer needs and satisfaction that any stakeholder would be proud of. That is the kind of work I put in as a leader. I mean, that was just kind of like me fluffing up the fact that you work really hard and you produce good results. That's about it. But the way I phrased it is that I'm a really good leader that takes control, and that's what recruiters and interviewers look for. Now let's take another leadership principle, dive deep. And now a sample story that you can kind of put behind this is, at my last internship, my manager gave me a certain task to do and he told me to do it with these specific tools. Now, as a leader, I really wanted to understand what these tools that he told me to do. I didn't want to just sort of be a follower. I wanted to understand what these tools were using and why we were using them. And through my research, I was able to discover that these tools that he recommended weren't the most efficient. So upon completion of my research, I showed him these tools that I used and he was very proud of my efforts. He realized that the tools I had suggested were more efficient and we actually saved a lot of time and effort on this project. Now, basically what that means in simple terms is that you were given a certain task, you just understood what you were doing. That's about it. And basically through all that fluff, you can really wow and impress recruiters and interviewers. So yeah, kind of summarizing this mini tip, I'd suggest to review the Amazon leadership principles and try to read your resume and try to map each experience you have to one of those principles, and maybe you can make a story out of that and really portray yourself as that amazing leader that you are, as that amazing communicator that you are, and really better your chances of passing this behavioral interview. Another important thing when it comes to behavioral interviews is being able to answer the question, why this company? Each company wants to know why you're interested in working for them. Is it their products? Is it their culture? What about this company really excites you and why do you want to work for them? Now, although you might think that you need to do as much company research as possible, researching into everything that they've done since their inception up till now, that you need to know every single detail about them, no, that is not true. You don't need to know all that. Basically, my approach to this is I actually give a generic response to each company, but it sounds very well thought out. And how I actually came to this realization was through this. So a couple years ago, I was giving an interview and they asked me the question, why are you interested in working for us? And I told them, at your company, you guys value creativity from all levels. Whether you're a senior manager all the way down to an intern, you value our voices and opinions. Through that value, you really give us ownership and leadership when it comes to our own projects. We get to see our project from beginning to end. We get to make important decisions into what components go into each project. Having power to make important decisions in the project is very critical to my learning and understanding of the software engineering industry as a whole. Now, some other companies, how they treat their interns is kind of like do. You do this, then you do this, then you do this. You're just given tasks. You're not really given opinion. You're not really given power to control anything that you're doing. And at that point, you're kind of just like a fast food worker. And that's not what I want to be. I want to be an important person making important decisions for my project. And this is something I can get out of an internship at your company. Now, the beauty in this response is that no company is going to be like,
Yeah, actually, we don't give our interns any important work. We just give them small little tasks to do. We have them go pick up coffee.
What company is going to say that? Not a single company out there is going to say that. And by you sort of picking up on this idea and presenting to them that they value creativity, makes them think that you've done a lot of research into their company. You know what their company is about. You would have a great fit here. And that's the image, that's the message that you want to send. So for all of you out there, try to find that sort of generic thing that sounds very meaningful and specific, and it applies to every single company. You just need to find that it factor for you. Now for the second topic, it's all about your swag and your style. Now, 50% of an interview is actually nonverbal. It's all psychological. Every single thing that you do when it comes to your hand movements, gestures, facial expressions, and even kind of like your overall confidence, that is portrayed very well. Before your interview, look yourself in the mirror, have your Superman pose, and tell yourself, I've got this. Just that will certainly help. Also, smiling. Smiling is key. Also, another thing is don't be intimidated by these companies. I mean, worst case scenario, they say no to you. That's it. It's not like your life is over if they say no to you. All they will say is, yeah, we're not moving on with you.
Boo-hoo, move on, next company, hallelujah.
And the sad part is a lot of people out there are like,
Yeah, I'm not sure if I should even apply to this company because I don't feel like I'm ready enough.
ready for what? Ready for them to say no? That's the worst that'll happen to you. And in fact, the mentality that I like to take is it's their privilege to interview me. I mean, interviewers, in a sense, they're actually trying to hire candidates. They want to fill up their spots that they have allocated in their company. It's not just you trying to seek a summer job. They are excited to see you. But with that being said, make sure to still remain humble. When you're going into an interview, you don't want to be like,
Yeah, guys, just give me the job. You know the drill. You know the rules. I'm here. This is my company. Give me the job.
no, you still want to be willing to learn, willing to pass the interview very humbly and respectfully. But maintain your confidence. That is key.
But Sajad, what if I don't know what to say? What if I blank out? What do I do? What do I do?
Like I said earlier in this video, make sure to know your resume 100% through and through. And say they ask you a question, give me a time that you failed as a leader and you don't know. What I like to do is try to circularly go around the question, describing one of the experiences that I have on my resume because I know that story through and through entirely. For example, I talk about my robotics story. I'll describe the initial stages of robotics, how I started with the club, how I rose to my leadership, and ultimately the decisions that I made. And then eventually by then, because you already know this so well in your head, you can kind of be like talking about that without really thinking too much, whilst thinking about where did I fail? As you're going through your story, remain confident, remain always talkative, so eventually you'll get to the answer to that question. Now, don't spend too much time going circularly around describing all the intricate details about your robotics experience. No, just talk about like the main components, and through that should give you enough time to ultimately answer that question. Now, that's about it for this video. I really hope you all benefited and learned how to really ace your behavioral interview. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and comment down below. And if you want to see more videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in my next video.